Good afternoon to each and everyone. I am Vanessa dinolang, the first reporter of our group, and today I am going to report about the first part of our topic. It is called the assessment in affective domain. The taxonomy in the affective domain. Descriptions of each steps in taxonomy are adopted from Cratwell's taxonomy of affective domain are given as follows. The first one is receiving. It is being aware or being sensitive to the existence of certain ideas, materials, or phenomena and being willing to tolerate them. The examples of illustrative verbs in creating this objective under receiving is number one, to differentiate, to accept, to listen, and to respond to. The second one is responding. It is committed in some small measures to the ideas, phenomena involved by actively responding to them. So, the example of illustrative verbs in creating this objective is the following. Number one is to comply. Second, to follow. Third, to commend. Fourth, to volunteer. Fifth, to spend leisure time in. And last, to acclaim. The third one is valuing. It is willing to be perceived by others as valuing a certain ideas, material, and phenomena. So here are the example of illustrative verbs or phrase samples in creating this objective under valuing. First one is to increase measured proficiency in. Second, to relinquish. Third, to subsidize. Fourth, to support. And last is to acclaim. The fourth one is the organization. It is to relate the value to those already held and bring it on into harmonious and internally consistent philosophy. Okay, so here are the illustrative verbs or phrase samples in creating objectives under organization. First one is to discuss, second is to theorize, third is to formulate, two is to balance, and last is to examine. And last but not the least is the characterization. It is the value set to act consistently in accordance with the values of he or she has internalized. So here are the illustrative verbs or phrase samples in creating this objective under characterization. First one is to revise, two is to require, third is to be rated in the value, fourth is to avoid, fifth is to resist, sixth is to manage, and last is to resolve.
Hi guys, my name is Mary Margaret Iperas and I'm going to talk about effective learning competencies. So, what is effective learning competencies? Effective learning competencies, effective desire and learning competencies are often stated in a form of instructional objectives. What are instructional objectives? When we say instructional objectives are specific, measurable, short-term, observable student behavior. When we say specific, specific can be achieved by the learners within your time frame in your given environment. Measurable is objectives that enables you to observe and determine how well the learners have acquired their skills and knowledge. Learner center or observable student behavior states that what can the learners do at the end of the training, and they always start with the action verb. Objectives are what the foundation upon which you can an assessment build lesson and assessment that you can prove to meet your overall course or lesson. Think of objective as some tools you use to reach your goals. They are the arrows you shoot towards your target. The purpose of the objectives is not to restrict and spontaneous or constrain the vision of education in the discipline. To ensure the learning is focused enough that the students and teachers know what is going on and learning can be objectively measured. Different archers have different styles, the different so do the different teachers. Thus, you can shoot your arrows or objectives in many ways. The important thing is that they can reach the target or end score. So, think of objectives as your bow and arrow. The target is your students. So, your lessons or your skills is your arrows. And objectives is not there to restrict or constrain the vision of education, but it's to ensure the learners are focused enough and the teachers are focused as well and what they are teaching and what the students are learning. Teachers have different styles, so you expect the lessons are delivered in many ways. We have reproduced a taxonomy of educational objectives in affective domain in the next slide adopted from Krathwohl. Each level affective domain is given description and an example of appropriate objectives or learning competencies. First is receiving. So the first level is receiving. The definition is being aware of the attending to something in the environment. So, for example, when the individual would read a book about the passage of civil rights, so when the students are now interested in learning the civil rights, responding, showing some new behaviors as a result of experience, individual will start to question about the book and read another book by the same author and read another book about the civil rights. So this is the result of receiving. So when the individuals are now starting to answer questions or questioning the book itself and reading another book with a different author and another book relating to civil rights. So valuing, showing some definite involvement or commitment. The individual might demonstrate by this by voluntarily attending on a civil right lecture. So valuing is now the commitment or the students are willing to learn by voluntarily attending the lectures regarding the specific topic or the civil rights. Next slide. So next slide is organization. The integration a new value into the general set of values, giving a ranking among general priorities. Individuals might arrange a civil rally rights. Civil rights rally, rather. Characterization of values, acting consistently with a new value. Individuals is firmly committed to the value, perhaps becoming a civil rights leader. Likewise, we provided some examples of verbs or behavioral terms that can be used to express learning competencies in the affective domain. We cannot stress enough the importance of using behavioral terms in specifying our learning competencies.
Good evening everyone, my name is Dorie Susmina. Today I'm going to discuss the differentiate between self-esteem and self-efficacy. So let's find out the meaning of this. Self-esteem is an individual subjective evaluation of their own worth. Self-esteem encompasses beliefs about oneself as well as emotional states such as triumph, despair, pride, and shame. So when we say self-esteem is to evaluate your emotion if what you feel. And nagkakaroon din dito ng doubt sa sarili. And you are the one who knows or to judge your emotion if what you feel. And lahat naman tayo, di ba, na meron tayong self-esteem. Hindi lang ito nakikita kundi nasa kalooban natin ito. And it depends on you on how to handle the self-esteem on yourself. So as you can see in the side, on their side, we have a Maslow hierarchy of needs. So self-esteem is that's involved there. And before you will get that, you must go through first the first step. First one is physiological needs. Second one, safety and security. Third one, love and belonging. Fourth one, self-esteem. And then lastly, self-actualization. So, if you get self-actualization, fulfill ka na sa lahat ng ginagawa mo and accept mo na yung kung ano ka at kung sino ka. Then, we have the three self-esteem. First one is inflated self-esteem. Second one, high self-esteem. And the lastly, low self-esteem. So first one, inflated self-esteem. So when the persons have full of confidence that they want to better than others, and ayaw nila na mahihigitan sila sa iba, kaya gusto nila na sila parati nasa itaas. And that in that attitude, it cause of negative self-esteem because it can create of not healthy relationship to others and can create also of competitiveness. So, pwede naman maging competitive ka sa iba in a good way nung yung wala kang tinatamakan na tao. So, that is the inflated self-esteem. So, the second one is the high self-esteem. So, when we say high self-esteem is you are confident. You are confident enough to show them in a positive way. So, yung wala kang doubt, then yung you give important or you give worth yourself to others, and you are already know how to value yourself. Yes. So, that's it, the high self-esteem. So, the lastly is the low self-esteem. So, kabaliktaran naman siya sa high self-esteem. So, when we say low self-esteem is, yun yung ginadown mo yung sarili mo, yung wala kang tiwala sa sarili, at hindi importante yung buhay mo sa iba, yung hindi ka confident talaga na ipakita sa kanila na ganito ako, ganito ka, pero yung low self-esteem mo is kailangan mo siyang i-develop in a good way. So we have a saying according to Gloria Gaynor, we all know that self-esteem comes from what you think of you, not what other people think of you. So, ikaw mismo ang nakakaalam kung anong self-esteem mo sa inside mo. So, wag mong pansinin ang mga judge ng ibang tao kung sino ka, kasi ikaw lang mismo ang nakakaalam kung sino ka talagang tao. So the next one is the self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is a person's belief in his or her ability to succeed in a particular situation. So kanina, ang self-esteem is to evaluate your emotion if what you feel. So ngayon, ang self-efficacy naman is to evaluate your abilities if what you have. So they believe in their ability to become successful someday. So, wala namang taong bobo sa mundo, diba? So, lahat naman tayo ay may kanya-kanyang abilities na dinadala natin. So, diba, meron ding tao na they are not good in speaking English or Tagalog, but they are good in application or action na magaling sila. So, ang self-efficacy naman is nagkakaroon lang nito kung ang taong nagbibigay ng motivation ay dapat positive. If the persons give you a motivation in a negative, mababa yung self-efficacy niya. So ganun din yun ang ang tawag niyan, way kung paano natin i-develop ang ating self-efficacy. So we have here that 4 involved in the self-efficacy. First one is inactive self-mastery, failure or success of actual performance. So, lahat naman tayo ay naka-experience ng failure. Pero, binibigyan nito natin ng solution to become successful. Then, second one is role modeling. So, vicarious experiences by observing or visualization. So, meron din mga taong ganyan no na magaling silang mag-handle ng leadership. Yung i-handle nila ang lahat ng members in a group. So, the third one is the verbal social persuasion. So, they are good in verbal. Example, yung pagiging speaker sa school, yung nagbibigay aral sa mga kabataan. So, you need to convince the students to become successful. And the lastly is physiological cues, somatic or emotional state.
In affective domain, we considered learning competencies, and also we considered following focal concepts, which are attitude and motivation. First is attitude. Attitude is a psychological tendency that is expressed by evaluating a particular entity with some degree of favor or disfavor. Attitude are comprised of four components, which are cognitions, affects, behavioral intentions, and evaluation. First is cognition. It involves a person's beliefs and knowledge about an attitude object. For example, I believe that spiders are dangerous. And the second one is the affects. It involves person's feelings or emotion about the attitude object. I am scared of spiders. Third is behavioral intention. It is the way that the attitude we have influence on how we act or behave. I will avoid spiders and scream if I see one. And the fourth and the last component is evaluation. It's considered as the central components of attitude. When we speak of a positive or negative attitude toward an object, we are referring to the evaluative component. For example, that I have told you earlier about the spider, believe that the spiders are dangerous. So the effect on it or the feelings that he get from that, he is scared. So I am scared of spiders. And the action or from the influence of that, he act, I will avoid spiders and scream if I see one. So in evaluation, this is the part we evaluate this tree, which is the cognitions, affects, and behavioral intention. Second is motivations. Motivation is the reason for engaging in a particular behavior. There are many theories that could explain the human motivation. One of these is the Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of human needs theory. He believed that once a given level of need is satisfied, it is no longer served to motivate man. Then the next higher level of need has to be activated in order to motivate the man again. This is the Maslow hierarchy needs. First is psychological needs, safety needs, social needs, esteem needs, and self-actualization needs. First is the psychological needs. These needs are basic on human life and hence it includes food, clothing, shelter, air, water, and other necessities of life. Second is the safety needs. After satisfying the psychological needs, the next needs felt are called safety and security needs. It is needs that find expression in such desired as economic security and protection from physical danger, which means it is need more money and the individual is prompted to work more. Third is the social needs. Man is social being. He is therefore interested in social interaction, companionship, and belongingness. It is socializing and belongingness why individuals prefer to work in a group and especially older people to go to work. Fourth is esteem needs. These needs refer to the self-esteem and self-respect. They include such as which indicate self-confidence, achievements, competence, knowledge, and independence. This fulfillment of self-esteem needs to lead by self-confidence, strength, and capability of being useful in the organizations. And the last need is the self-actualization needs. These levels represents the culmination of all the lower, intermediate, and the higher needs of human beings. In other words, the final step under the need hierarchy model is the need for self-actualization and it refers to the fulfillment of the man. According to Maslow, the human needs follow a definite sequence of domination. The second needs does not arise until the first reasonably satisfied, and it goes on. The other side of the need hierarchy is that human needs are unlimited. However, Maslow need hierarchy theory is not without its detractors. The theory that supports and expanded Maslow hierarchy of needs is the theory of Hertzberg's motivator hygiene theory. Frederick Hertzberg's two-factor theory concludes that certain factors in the workplace result in a job satisfaction, while others do not, but if absent, lead to dissatisfaction. He distinguished between motivators and hygiene factors. In motivators, it is examples, challenging work, recognition, responsibility, which give positive satisfaction, and hygiene factors, examples, status, job, security, salary, and fringe benefits, which do not motivate and present, but if it is absent, it will cause demotivation.
For teachers, getting students' attention. Number 1, ask your students. Ask an interesting, speculative question, show a picture, tell a little story, or read a related poem to generate discussion and interest in the upcoming lesson. Number 2, try to be playful. Try playfulness, silliness, a bit of theatrics, props, and storytellings to get attention and pique interest. Add a bit of mystery. Bring an object relevant to the upcoming lesson in a box, bag, or pillowcase. This is a wonderful way to generate predictions and can lead to excellent discussions or writing activities. Number 4, signal student auditorily. Ring a bell, use a beeper or timer, play a bar of music on the piano or guitar. Number 5, vary your tone of voice. Loud, soft, whispering. Try making a louder command, like listen, freeze, ready, followed by a few seconds of silence before proceeding in a normal voice to give directions. Number 6, use visual signals. Flash the lights or raise your hand, which signals the students to raise their hands and close their mouths until everyone is silent. Use visual materials. Frame the visual material you want students to be focused on with your hands or with a colored box around it. Number 8, use their signals. Check. Number 8, use their signals like everybody, ready. Number 9, color is very effective in getting attention. Make use of colored dry erase pens on whiteboards, colored overhead pens for transparencies and overhead projectors, and colored paper to highlight keywords, phrases, steps to computation problems, spelling patterns, and others. Number 10, use eye contact. Use eye contact. Students should be facing you when you are speaking, especially while instructions are being given.
Wala na, finish na.